That's okay. Hello, everybody. My name is Andy. Like they said, I work at Impact X Performance, and the presentation tonight is on aging and wellness. And this is I want to introduce my wife, Kristen. You want to stand up, Kristen? She also works at Impact X Performance. She's the office manager, so she's my boss at work and at home. So it makes my life simple. I know who to listen to. But we really love our community at Impact X, and there's a few people here. We'll have them stand up at some point. But so I was asked by our leader to present this, and my first question is, why are you asking me to talk about aging? So evidently I'm aging as well. Yes. So the definition of an old person. This is a paraphrase on a quote by Oliver Wendell Holmes. Is anybody who's 15 years older than you are. That's an old person. Now, if you'd asked me when I was 45, is 61 old? I would have said yeah. If you ask me today, no. 61 plus 15, that's old. And it is funny, this is a funny story. My dad was 89 years old, and he lived in a farmhouse with very steep stairs with his bedroom at the top. And he had fallen a couple times, and we said, Dad, I think we ought to move your bedroom downstairs. He said, nah, not till I get old. So, we just sometimes we just don't want to accept it. But I do have, just in case you're wondering if you are aging, I have the top 10 things that are signs that you might be getting older. So I'm going to do this Dave Letterman style. Top 10 signs you might be getting older. Number 10, your joints are a better predictor of the weather than the TV weatherman. Yep. I used to laugh at people, but now I know, it's going to rain. I can feel it in my joints. Number 9, you forget why you walked into a room, but you remember a song from 1968 perfectly. Number 8, you were offered the senior discount at places where you didn't even ask for it. Number 7, you hear a snap, crackle, and pop in the morning, but it's not coming from the cereal bowl. Number 6, you hear your favorite song in the elevator. Have you had that happen? Is that Jethro Tull with a string quartet? Yeah. And it sounds pretty good. Number 5, your spouse accuses you of only hearing what you want to hear, but you replied, a beer sounds lovely, thank you. And none of these are autobiographical, by the way. Number 4, reading now requires the trombone slide of finding just the right place to hold your reading material. Number 3, your doctor, accountant, and pharmacist all look too young to have a driver's license, let alone a degree or a license to practice. They do look young, don't they? Yes. You sure you graduated high school? Okay. I'll talk to you. Number 2, you're sitting at night on the couch with your spouse, and you turn off the light, not for romantic reasons, but for economic reasons. And number 1, you ask your spouse, I just let out a very long silent fart, what should I do? But they reply, check the batteries in your hearing aid. And I hope it's not sacrilegious to share that in church. So those are the top 10 reasons, top 10 signs you might be getting older. So, now, a little bit more about my story. On the left, that's me when I was at my heaviest, and I had gotten out of shape. So like I said, I was a school teacher, 35 years. It's an active lifestyle, but sedentary, and taking a lot of classes. I earned my doctorate, but that's a lot of time teaching and then evenings sitting in a chair typing up papers. And I was out of shape. And like many of us, I got a wake-up call, a diagnosis of type 2 diabetes, which I have since reversed through nutrition and exercise. It's gone. I could not have done it without the help of Impact X Performance. So, bottom line, I was in a place in my life I needed help. And I got help. And if we need help, we can get help. And it's not a shame to admit that we could use some help. And since I've been a member there 5 years or so, but I've been working there 4 years. When I retired from teaching, I said, that's what I want to do. I want to help people the way that I was helped. And it's very rewarding. We have a girl who has lost 100, Crystal, how many, it was just she lost 140 pounds? 140 pounds she's lost. Yeah. And we, as a part of a team, part of a program, we saved that girl's life. And for them, I am sure that they added 10 years to my life. And like you guys were making a joke about, the gym and, it costs money. Yeah. If you'd have asked me 6 years ago, what would it be worth to add 10 years to your life? What would I say? What would that be worth? It's an investment. And there's different programs, there's different, but we can all do something. And Denise is in the kitchen, and I would embarrass her, but she joined our gym with a goal. Denise, she said, I'm at home listening on the scanner, and I hear people calling for lift assist. And I do not want them putting over the radio that they got to come pick me up. So she said, this is my goal. I want to lose 70 pounds by my 70th birthday. And she did. She didn't make it exactly, that's Denise. So not just with us, but she had lost quite a bit before she came to us. But we helped her finish that goal to lose 70 pounds. So that's my story. Now, since I have become a part of this community, as I began to interact with some of the members, I got new role models for aging. They say you conform to the 5 people you hang around with the most. So if the people you hang around with the most are out of shape and obese, then you will be. Now, the guy on the left, Mark, and I could put 20 pictures up here, but he's 73 years old, and I can't keep up with him. And many of the young people in the gym can't. I don't know anyone who can do sit-ups with a 20-pound ball faster than him. And he had a fitness journey. He was out of shape and got in shape, but he's been going there 10 years or so. Ed is 83. And he's in Horseheads, Impact X. He is more flexible than anyone I know. Anyone I know. And more flexible. He's been doing yoga for years. There's 23-year-olds that couldn't do what he does. And he works out with us. Now, our gym is not like the Buff gym. But we will have, and you can ask Nina and Melinda as well, we will have someone who is 70 working right out with someone who is 20 right next to them, and we will customize the workout to you. If you tell us you got a knee issue going on, we will work around it. So we're not a gym that hurts people. But these are, I look at these people now, I said, that's what I want to be like when I grow up. So new role models for aging. So there are many different ways that we can improve our physical fitness, and Impact X is not the only way, right? But there are some core principles that apply to all and I'm going to share some of those. Number one, people say, should I talk to my doctor? Yes, you should talk to your doctor about what kind of fit you're going to start a fitness thing. And I'm sure your doctor, whoever they are, will agree with these core principles. Number one, I think most of us would agree we need to eat better and we need to move more. I don't think any doctor is going to disagree with that. We need to eat better and we need to move more. And you got to start somewhere. But, I'll just share very briefly. I got into some very bad eating habits and, developed health problems as a result of that. But, we want to eat mostly real food. Like we had a lot of that tonight. We want to prioritize protein and plants at every meal and cut sugar and white carbs as much as possible. So that's just general, and I think most nutritionists would agree with that. But you all got to start somewhere, and it's all about good, better, best. Right? Never let it rest. Oh, I'm doing good. I can still do better, and I'm working on it, but we could do better. We have people that come to us. Now, I'm not a nutritionist, and that's not part of my scope. But we do point people to resources who ask us questions. And a lot of people come to our gym because they want to lose weight. And now I was talking to a young lady the other night who was very heavy, and she goes, well, this is my problem. I'm a junk food junkie. Mm-hmm. And so if you want to know my advice, the first thing is stop talking like that. Because you're just going to prophesy over yourself that if you say that, you're going to believe it and you're going to act that way. So that's the first thing. And I can't go into much detail, but we got to start somewhere, right? And we have people that join our gym that say, well, I drink 4 Coca-Colas a day. That's not good. You think, but you can't change everything overnight. Do you think you could cut it down to 3? Let's start there. So start weaning yourself off. So the main thing is, we want to do better so that we can live better, so that we can feel better, right? Now then, what matters most is that you move. And our gym is not, we are a high-intensity interval training gym. And don't let that scare you, because high intensity for you is different than high intensity for both. So, but what matters is that you keep moving. Some people enjoy pickleball. It could be something in a swimming pool. It could be going for a walk. So what matters most is that we keep moving. Now, I believe you'll stick to it better if you're having fun. And at our gym, we say we put the fun in functional fitness. And this is on Cinco de Mayo. This is our gym in Horseheads. And we got sombrerios. We had quite a fitness fiesta to the point that she had to take a siesta. And we do lots of silly stuff. That's us. That's our brand. And this was May the 4th. May the 4th be with you. That's it. So I'm being attacked by Darth Vader there, and so I can still do a reverse lunge, so I was able to ward off that attack. But we have fun. If you have fun, because I don't know about you, if it's not fun, I'm not going to do it. So we got to make it fun. Now here, this is based on a study, a journal of longevity study. Now let's say you take a person who's not doing anything, sedentary, out of shape. If they would walk for 11 minutes a day, now that's brisk walking. That's not shuffling from the couch to the fridge, walking. Brisk walk, 11 minutes. 11 minutes a day, they estimate you can add 2 years to your life. 11 minutes a day could change your life. 25 minutes a day could add 7 years to your life. Now, it's not just about living longer, but one of the things we say, we want to have more years to our life, but but we want to have more life in our years. Now, one of the things that we say is movement is medicine. The more you move, the more you can move. The less you move, the less you can move. So, the more you, as you move, the less you move, the less you want to move. The more you move, your body starts to crave it. Now, if I go 2 or 3 days without a workout, I feel cranky. Those endorphins that you talk about, they're real. It's like, my wife is shaking her head over there. Yeah, he feels cranky. So, your body produces these endorphins of dopamine, oxytocin, serotonin, and it's like a drug, but it's nothing. There's no side effects. You feel good, So there are changes as we age. They estimate 3% to 5% muscle loss per decade after age 30 in adults who do not regularly train. You begin to lose muscle. And it's not fair, but as you get older, it is a lot more work to gain muscle. But it is possible. It is possible, and we've seen it. You have to do it safely, but you have to pick up heavy things. Strength training is the principle of progressive overload. And if you pick it up safely, there's form. We teach form and correct form. There's a lady in Horseheads. She's been a member for 13 years, 80 years old, and she will deadlift an 80-pound kettlebell. As if it was nothing. And I tell some of our, young girls in their 20s, they're like, what? Yeah. She's been working up to that. But she's strong, and you can get stronger by working out. Now, if you come to the position of being deconditioned, it's reversible. And I've been there 4 years, and when I was new, if I can just be honest, occasionally someone would come in and I would think to myself, I wonder if maybe they're too far gone. But within 6 weeks, I was amazed at what they were doing. And after 6 months, I was blown away. God has designed the human body in such an amazing way that we can recover what's been lost through exercise. It's just amazing. So the main treatment is a gradual, not at the first workout. Gradual increase in physical activity. Yeah, I have had those workouts where I got behind the wheel of my car and had to do this. But no, you are going to get sore. But lifting, it should be muscle pain, not joint pain, right? So, and vitality is possible. In this quote, the human body is remarkably resilient. Even after years of deconditioning, it can often regain strength, function, and vitality with patient, progressive effort. So, here's some more of the principles. You have to start where you are. There's no other place to start. Wherever you are, that's where we begin. And the CEO of ImpactX, he trains David Jeremiah, the radio preacher in San Diego. And this is his saying, if you can't do what you want to do what you can do. And I've had times, I got a slight tear in my Achilles when I first joined the gym. And I asked my doctor, should I still go to the gym? He said, it's a great time to work on your core. So, you have to start somewhere. And, we have people sometimes that will say, well, my knee hurts, so I can't come to the gym. And I have arthritis myself. If I waited for a pain-free day to go to the gym, I would never go. And so, but the thing of it is, I'll go. Now, there'll be some things that I don't do that other people are doing. But you know what I found is the more I move, the better I feel. And that's what we say. Movement is medicine. Motion is lotion. Muscle is magic. We want to have less fat, more muscle. And I mean, really, that's the way our God designed our bodies to be. Less, not like it is in the 21st century, you know. So you look at this. They say, our boss Travis will say, he cites this statistic. After a certain age, you're more likely to recover from cancer than you are a fall. And often that's what does somebody in. So you see what this lady's doing here? She's tripping on the steps, but she's catching herself. At the gym, we call that a burpee. But what we're doing, we are preparing for the day when we need to catch ourselves. Because where people get hurt is they fall and they don't have the strength anymore to catch themselves. So that's a burpee, right? I'm going to be ready. Right? So you start somewhere. You start somewhere with the squat thrust. Right? But I'm getting stronger. But we got to work on it, right? Another thing is we go through our lives and we move generally forward. But how often do we move like this? Then you have to, and then you fall. So we got to train. We're training for life. And that's what we put the fun and functional fitness. We're not, I don't think any of us are going to go to the Olympics. Right? But you're going to have to do some basic movements. And sometimes people will say, my doctor told me not to do squats. And we always listen to your doctor, but sometimes you wonder, did something get lost in the translation between what we said to them and they said to the doctor, and the doctor said to them and then they said to us? Because how are you going to get up and down off the toilet if you don't do a squat? Because that's a squat. Yeah. You all did a squat when you sat down. You're going to have to squat the rest of your life. Right? If you go out in your garden, you're going to have to do a deadlift if you pull those weeds, right? So form is important. So we're training to be ready for challenges. So one last thing I want to encourage you, and then maybe we'll do some moving around stuff. Well, we'll see. We'll see how that goes. I might ask for some volunteers. Health is an investment, not an expense. So we have coupons not to Buff Gym, but to ours. We'll give you a free week. And if it's not for you, it's not for you. But we want to give you this as a resource. Vanna, can you show us what you have for the people? So, it's a free week. And yes, that's what I was looking for. Now, just in closing, I hope you were encouraged, that, I don't know what motivates you, but you got to remember your why. One of my whys, I have an 8-year-old grandson, and I want to be strong to enjoy life with him. I'd like to see him graduate from high school, graduate from college. I'd like to see his kids someday. So we want to stay strong so that we can not just have years in our life, but life in our years. And I was talking to the father. We have a similar story of kind of getting these conditions, and then do you not feel better than you did in years? For me, except for the arthritis in my knee, I feel better than I did in my 30s. You know, I feel good. So we just love sharing what we do, and I hope you're encouraged to do. You know, it's all about good, better, best, wherever you're at. You know. So let's see. Is there any questions? Yes. It's on Desmond and Lockhart, the corner of Desmond and Lockhart. And like I said, anybody can walk in. The first one will be free. But meet with that nice lady over there, Kristen. She'll talk to you about her program and so on. But you're welcome to come and try it. And you know, anything else? Yes.
Do you have a class especially for older adults?
We used to, but no, we don't right now. But we would customize our workouts. They do in Horseheads if you're in that area. It's called the Forever Class. So it's a little slower pace, a little more time. If we had enough interest, we did offer one, and we can't hold a class for 2 people.
Yeah.
So those 2 people, they graduated into the other group. But if we had enough, we would do it. And anything else? Yes?
What kind of classes do you have? Do you have classes, or is it all individual?
Oh, no, it's a class. Good question, and I'm glad you said that. Because for years, you know, when I was out of shape, occasionally I would go into the gym and I was on my own. You're just renting the equipment. And it was like, there were people over looking at the mirror and making muscles, you know, and looking at themselves. I don't think anyone ever said a word to me, like, that worked there. Like, do you know what you're doing? Do you need any help? So we have a class. We have a coach that's running the class. We'll demonstrate the exercises. We'll help you adapt it if you need it. And it's different every week, so he keeps changing things up. But it's kettlebells, dumbbells, battle ropes. It's fun. Anything else? Yes, sir.
I used to run marathons, real big into it.
Yeah.
And I agree with what you said, like working your way up.
Yeah.
So when I first started, I was doing 12-minute pace. I went down to the 6-minute pace. So,
yeah. Yeah, it's awesome. Anything else? Yes.
Can you work with people with disabilities?
Yeah, we would have to talk about that. That might have to be more small group or even one-on-one, but we're open to discuss anything if we could make it work. All right, well, thank you for being good listeners. Now, here, can somebody make Denise come out here?
I'll go get that.
Go. And Melinda and Nina, would you come up here as shining examples and help me lead? I don't know if you've known these ladies any number of times, but you guys look great. I was just saying what they can do. You guys are getting stronger, and I've just known them for 4 years. I've seen them progress over the years to be able to do what they couldn't do the first time they walked in. Here's Denise, everybody. And Kristen, so we're going to have everybody stand up. Yeah, go ahead. Yeah.
I just want to share one thing about Denise. She actually competed in a world championship decade, us as a team, and then also another partner this past year, and she crushed it.